Oh boy, did I pick a bad time to want to do a vlog. Hello and welcome everybody. This is Joseph Learbach. You're just in time for more vlogging. So let's see, what do I have on the list here to vlog this time? Let's see, we did Man of Steel. We did the intro video. Iron Man 3. Let's talk about Star Trek. Okay, so yeah, a couple weeks ago I saw Star Trek Into Darkness. And a couple weeks before that I saw Iron Man 3. And I promise I will get to Iron Man 3 eventually. I hope. Right now we're doing Star Trek Into Darkness. What do I think about the movie? Well, I liked it a lot. Really a lot. I'm going to be adjusting my hat here. So yeah. So basically, in order for me to talk about this movie, I kind of have to talk about kind of my past Star Trek experience. I feel like, really, I originally grew up on a bit of Next Generation and Voyager. Kind of weird. I only saw like a handful of those episodes. And as a kid, I barely remember any of them I saw. Of all of them, I remember Voyager the most. I think it was Voyager. Which one was the captain as where they had the female captain? I think it was Voyager. My dad was a big fan of the original Star Trek. My mom really liked, I think, Deep Space Nine. At least until they got to the Borg, and wow, my hair looks terrible. Keeping the hat on. Flipping it. Yeah, I know it's a Halo 3 hat. It's one of my friend's hats. I think it looks better this way. It's one of my friend's hats, and it's like it looks cool. So yeah. Let's see what else. Kind of started watching the Next Generation when it started coming on BBCA or BBC America. Yeah. Then the only Star Trek movie I ever watched was Wrath of Kahn before this, and the original J.J. Abrams movie, which we'll get into that in just a second. But I really liked Wrath of Kahn. It's my favorite of the Star Trek movies, even though it's the only one of it's the third only. You know what I'm going for. I've only seen 3 of them. But yeah. So anyway, we're going to the Star Trek movie, the first one, J.J. Abrams reboot. I liked it a lot. I think the change they made really does fit the changes they made for the rest of the to fit for a more modern setting, you know, or more modern film type thing, you know. What a time to start being awkward. Yeah. I think they did a good job of modernizing Star Trek. There we go. I think that's what I'm looking for. I liked what they did with the characters. From what I understand, they kept the characters mostly the same. I really liked Bones. He was pretty cool. I remember correctly, this one in Into Darkness, he was pretty cool too. Yeah, so I like that one. So going into this one, I had a lot of high hopes. So Star Trek Into Darkness. I gotta remember how this one starts off. It's been a little longer since I've seen this one than I've Man of Steel. Here we go. Okay, it starts off. Kirk and Bones are being chased by these these tribal people on this planet of red plant stuff. I'm not sure what it is. I remember there being a lot of like red. But it looks like they're supposed to be plant, like this alien-looking plants, and they're being chased by tribesmen. Yeah, that's a hell of a way to start a movie. I think they stole like a scroll from them or something. They're trying like a thing, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to save the tribe from an erupting volcano, and I guess they need to get them far away from it to keep them in a safe distance. Either way, what ends up happening is they jump off the off the edge into some water and they go into the Starship Enterprise underwater, which I'm fairly certain that a spaceship that's fit for space. Excuse me, there. A spaceship that's fit for space travel can't really survive underwater very well. The way it's designed would be designed to be able to break through the atmosphere. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But they go in, have a bit of conversation. I think they ask how Spock and her are doing, and it turns out they're over at the volcano getting ready to freeze the SOB. And well, they do. Spock is willing to sacrifice himself. Like something goes wrong, so he sends Uhura back, and he like stays so he can fix the problem, and he's willing to die or something. The needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few. Which, by the way, if you've seen Wrath of Kahn, you're gonna see a lot of similarities between that and this movie. So yeah, they do that. They save it. Spock has, I don't know. He gets saved, and he has a bit of complaints for being saved or something. I can't remember very well. And it's kind of a little bizarre, kind of. Or at least he asks why Kirk saved him or something. I can't remember. But either way, they get in a bit of trouble with Starfleet because Kirk saves the tribe, and they revealed the Enterprise to the I think it's like a class 4 or class 2 planet. It's like a very primitive planet. So they sped up their progression too much or something like that, which is kind of funny because when you see them drawing the Enterprise in the sand, it kind of looks like they're more like worshiping it as a god or something. Really weird. Which is what I would figure would have happened. So Kirk gets reprimanded and he gets replaced with Pike. Who in the last movie he lost his leg. He lost the use of his leg, but he kind of gained the use of them back in this movie. Like he's walking with a cane now or something. But he got control of the Enterprise back from Kirk after giving it to Kirk in the first movie. Yeah, but Kirk's like now under him, like as a second in command. And then some other stuff happens in the background. Like this other guy comes along. He starts making deals with this starship guy, with this one admiral guy or something. I'm not sure if it's an admiral. This high-ranking officer to he gives him this stuff to cure his daughter of this illness, and in turn he has to blow up a library, like an archives or something like that, and he does, killing himself in the process because that's kind of I guess he wasn't really sure if he was going to die or not. They don't really go into detail too much about this guy. It's mostly like a silent scene. But he dies, and this guy like this guy's like I guess sending a message or a terrorist or something. So they find this out, and like Starship has all their major guys meet up in one place, including Pike. And it gets ambushed by, I guess, the guy. I can't remember the guy's name right now off the top of my head. It's like Jack something or James something. This British guy. He's completely not Khan. By the way, spoilers. Probably should get into that really quickly. There's going to be spoilers on here, by the way. He's totally not Khan. Just like they said, he's not Khan. The whole. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it for you right now. He is Khan. It's not like he. This whole movie, I was like expecting Khan to be in this movie because I kept hearing, "Oh, Khan's not gonna be in this movie." That's what they're still making it so blatantly obvious that he was by saying he wasn't. It's just one of those weird things. And the guy turns out to be Khan, and so I hear his name's different. Like it's some like James, not James. It's like Johnson Smith. No, I'm not even sure it was John. We'll just say John Smith for now because that's a popular name to use. I was like, okay, so maybe he's not Khan by name. He's just Khan by person, and so he escapes to a Klingon homeworld. So to the Klingon homeworld. I can't remember the name of it. I remember it being a pretty cool name. And this is during the time where the Klingons are at kind of uneasy times with humans, with the UNCC, the Federation. There we go. That's the Federation. I've heard so many different names for this. Like Metroid has their own names, like the UAC or something like that. No, UAC is Doom. That's like Union Aerospace Corporation or something like that. And then like the Galactic Federation, the GFC, the Galactic Federation something. It was just GF for Metroid. Either way, I've heard of them a lot. Terrans for StarCraft, yeah. Anyway, this one guy, this Colonel guy, this guy that like outranks everyone essentially, wants Kirk to take these new types of photon torpedoes and send them on to the Klingon homeworld, like launch all 47 of these things at the guy, just out of distance. And so he's like, okay, sure, we'll do that. Scotty, the ship engineer, who, if I remember correctly, he was like my favorite character in the other one, next to Bones. Like he was like, I think he was my favorite character. Bones was my second favorite in the movie. He's my favorite because he's like really eccentric and stuff. He's the guy that if you aren't good with names like me, he was the guy that's on the frozen space station in the first movie. He's like, this is exciting. He had that one little alien guy as a sidekick. And he makes a return in this one. He's like freaking awesome in this one. So it doesn't look like he should be in an outfit. He still looks like he needs to have a hat on or something. Like he looks like, oh man, my hair looks like a mess right now. He still looks like he has like my kind of hair. Like he has less of seeing hair than I do. He's like, no, I'm not gonna. There's I don't know what's in these ships. What's in these shells is like completely shielded from my scanners, and I don't feel comfortable keeping them on my ship. And he says his ship. Oh, by the way, I should probably say this beforehand. Because... oh, wow. I am so way out of... Okay, so the guy kills a bunch of generals, including Pike. And so Kirk becomes captain again because he's underneath Pike. And I'm not going to lie, my dad was really, really ticked off with the fact that Pike died. Because it's so not like the show. It's so different from the show because, it's completely different. Yeah. I pick on him all the time for that. Dad, if you haven't been watching this, yeah, no one cared that Pike died in the movie. He's not going to be watching this. I kind of hope he does, though. So yeah, he dies and Kirk becomes captain again, so that's how Kirk gets back to being captain. The general guy is the general guy and Kirk are the only two that survive. Not Khan leaves and goes for Krypton. Klingon space. Not Krypton space. Wow. I did not think that would be somebody. Yes, because Krypton is... Yeah, anyway, I'm not quite surprised we've seen... Oh, no, that... Yeah. Never mind, they can't do that because Star Trek, I think, is owned by Marvel in terms of the comic because they did an X-Men crossover. Yeah. Or so I've been told. Anyway, getting off topic there. So Scotty leaves. They keep the warheads, and Kirk throughout the whole movie is kind of like really determined to get this son of a bitch. So he flies over. They're just outside of Klingon space, and they start having issues with their ship, I think. And so they send like a little ship out to go try to capture the guy, bring him in without killing him. Going against what the general said. I'm just going to call him the general because I can't remember his actual name. I believe it's him, Uhura, and Spock in 2 red shirts. Yeah. Guess what happens to the red shirts? Actually, I think they survive in this one. I don't know what happens to them. They just like disappear, just vanish, and all that stuff. Like it's Uhura and Spock's little relationship issue that's going on. Like they're like, why'd you want to die? Why'd you want to die and leave me, Spock? I don't know. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. I tend to tune that kind of stuff out. It's this kind of drama, unnecessary drama that's there for the sake of being there. And at the same time, it's at the worst possible time. It's so cliche. And I think even Kirk said, like, just shut up and let's get the mission over with. You guys can worry about the romantic corpse after we capture the son of a bitch off Klingon territory. Hers along because she's a linguist, so she can speak Klingon. So you see the Klingons once you land on the planet, like the Klingons chase them around, and they all land, and the Klingons like have them cornered, and they start talking to them. Uhura starts talking to them, and the Klingons they have this like armor over their face. It looks like very cheesy Klingon armor looking thing, like helmets. Looks really weird, and they take the helmet off, and they look like Klingons, except they have like rings in their ridges, which is kind of weird. I've heard a lot of people say like the Klingons look really goofy, but I kind of like the way they look. They look kind of cool, or at least they look okay. So yeah, negotiations with the Klingons aren't working because Klingon war, stuff. I don't know, something like that. But then they get Gatlings, like some sort of like laser energy Gatling shoots them, and holding it is Khan. Again, I think I've spoiled it enough. I'm going all over the place. It's not Khan, the British Khan. Let's go ahead and say that. He's one-handing this minigun. It's like it's freaking all. He's being completely badass, like just killing everything. And then at this point he reveals he's Khan. I think it's either this point or a little bit after. He comes in. He willingly gives himself up. And to be taken prisoner because of like the 47. Like he hears about the 47 nukes that they had ready to aim at him. Like they hail him and alert him of their presence and tell him that they're coming, and he's like he's gonna come willingly and because of those nukes and stuff like that. So he's in jail. He's acting very Hannibal Lecter-ish, I guess you could say, being very manipulative or acting very manipulative. He's like, check the pods. No, check the torpedoes. See what's in them. So Kirk and this one science officer girl, can't remember her name now. She boarded the ship, and she's using like a false name or something. I can't remember what her excuse was, or if I don't think she even had an excuse. But it turned out she's like the general's daughter. The general's daughter, and she had some concerns about what was in the pot, what was in the special torpedoes, because he tells her everything, and this is the one thing he never told her about. It's like, really? The one thing? I mean, he's a general. He has to know more. It's kind of weird. So they open it up, and it turns out there's some frozen bodies inside. Turns out these are Khan's other men and women, as people. If you didn't know, in the original Star Trek series, Khan was a super soldier. He was like genetically bred to be a super soldier back during, I think it was like 2010, during the genetic wars, or eugenic wars or something like that. 2010. It's 2013. We haven't had that. Go figure. I think they changed the date for this movie just to make it flow a little more naturally. And so he's a super soldier, genetically altered to be like the perfect soldier, to be the perfect person. Problem with that, he also had the perfectly sized ego, and he wants to purge all non-pure life forms that aren't him. So it's like him and his 47 people will be the only people left. Yeah, he got forcibly frozen, and so did his crew. And they were forced to essentially, I guess, be waited out. So prisoners and frozen. I don't know. They're frozen and sent to a ship behind Jupiter. And no, not behind Jupiter. I don't know if they actually explain where he was sent. But he tells them. Okay, this is where I'm getting the Jupiter thing from. He tells them to check behind one of the moons of Jupiter, because the Federation's hiding stuff from them. And so Kirk gets hold of Scotty, who's out at a bar drinking with his little alien buddy, and he tells him to go check behind the moon of Jupiter. And Scotty's like, "Screw off! Why should I listen to you when you didn't listen to me?" He puts his cell phone transceiver away, and he looks at the little alien dude. And the alien is just looking at him with his bright-eyed, like, I'm not sure if I can match it. Like the puppy dog eye, like oh, he doesn't say a word. He's like, damn it, you're right, little alien dude. We should go check it out. I can't remember the alien's name, but he's so freaking cool. He doesn't say a single word in the movie at all. He's just like everything he says like right in his big old puppy dog eyes. I want a sidekick like that. But yeah, he checks out the moon and there's like there's like these Federation ships like going in there and he somehow sneaks in. I don't know how. But you don't hear much of that until later on. So yeah, Khan tells him of the his people tells him about the eugenic stuff and genetic stuff. They take a sample of Khan's blood and there's like this tribble, which if you don't know, like this tribble is like this little furry creature about like yay big that is known for being able to massively reproduce. Like like rabbits only on a quicker rate. Check out the Star Trek episode "Trouble with Tribbles." There's actually I think like 2 episodes of that, and where they deal with that, and apparently the like hyper reproductive little fur balls that are just nothing but trouble. I haven't actually seen the episodes myself, but yeah. And I at least know of their existence. So it's like, yeah, for the fans, it's like kind of a neat little trick there, a neat little tribute there, and he's like injecting Khan's blood into it to see what would happen. Why not? Bones is doing this. Bones is the one that got. That's probably I should probably mention that when I say he, I mean Bones. Because why not? Why not experiment with human blood into alien life form and see if it would actually mix? I guess it'd be more than just human blood, I guess. But yeah, so nothing comes of that. That's kind of foreshadowing for later on. We'll get into that. We'll get into that part later. We'll get into that part when it comes there, but get ready for a storm at that point. So yeah, it turns out the problems with the Enterprise they've been having, the Enterprise was sabotaged. Turns out the general guy is really the bad guy. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, big surprise. General's the bad guy. I'd say that's cliche, but at the same time, it's kind of... I saw it coming, and it wasn't really a big surprise to me. But yeah, sorry about that. I was just thinking there. So he's like, hand over the prisoner. He handles them. He's like, hand over the prisoner. And Kirk's like, no, I can't do that, sir. What you're doing is illegal, against protocol. Despite the fact he breaks the protocol all the time, but okay, whatever. What you're doing is you're building warships. You shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong. We're only a federation. We're only a federation built for exploration, not for war. Despite the fact I think the Federation is technically the military. I think it is. I'm not. As far as the original Star Trek goes, I know the Enterprise is built for exploration, but the Federation is like the entire Earth, the entire human military, isn't it? Like just in general, exploration, war, and everything. So I don't know what he was doing that was really considered war. Oh, aside from he wanted to start a war with Klingon, I think that was the big thing. He wanted to start a war with Klingon. And that's why he was he sent Khan's men in the torpedo. He's going to send them out and have them fight the Klingons and start a war so that he could become a great general or something like that. War profiteering and crap like that. It's just, yeah. So yeah, he has like this big warship, huge, like Enterprise thing, like this big black Enterprise, or grayish Enterprise. It's like this big, and the Enterprise is like that small. It's like, oh man, this thing is vicious, dude. It's like they start after like negotiate. Of course, negotiations go south, and the ship and like this warship starts firing like rapid fire laser beams at the Enterprise, like just wailing on it. But before that, I probably should go and mention the general's daughter. She's like, "Don't blow up the ship. I'm on it." He's like, "Oh, really?" Like, and he beams her up. Yeah, it really is that simple. He beams her up, and then he starts wailing on the ship. They get the Enterprise ready to warp drive, and they warp towards Earth. Of course, the big warship follows them and just wails on them along the way and like crashes them like right outside of Earth's orbit. They're like floating. And before it gets the final before it can deal the final blow to the Enterprise, Scotty steps in and cuts the power. Like he's snuck on board and he starts cutting the power. It's actually pretty awesome. So yeah, during that time, like Kirk and Khan are like, or Kirk's trying to figure out what to do, and he's kind of like, hey, it's your crew on this ship as well as mine. We need to stop everything. We need to stop our bickering and work together. And Khan's like, I agree. We should work together. Even though I have not got the power of Ricardo Monteblog. I hope I'm saying his name right. The original Khan. Oh, I still like him better. I'm sorry. He's so much better. I'm sorry. I hope I'm getting his name right. I know it's Ricardo Montello. I'm sorry if you have me watching. I'm sorry I'm screwing your name up. I'm very bad with names. I think it's if it is, someone please correct me in the comments how his name is spelled. I enjoy people correcting me. How his name is pronounced too. But yeah, so you got this guy. I believe this guy was also Magneto in X-Men First Class. This is the current Khan. This is Magneto. Yeah, so he's like, they go into like this space jump. They just leap off from the Enterprise to the Blackbird thing, giant evil Enterprise, bad Enterprise thing, and so they go in. They manage to sneak in where where Scotty is, and save him. And then they go to take out the general guy. And as soon as they do, Kirk turns around and stuns Khan because he knew. Actually, no, he didn't know. He sort of knew. Earlier, during this point, he gave control to the Enterprise to Spock for the temporary time being, and Spock contacted his future self, which in the first movie, his future self came from another time. They got time travel back, and he couldn't go forward, and all that. It's part of the plot point. And he asks him if he knew who Khan was, and he kind of tells him who Khan was, and like he's a very dangerous guy. And I might go ahead and mention that the future Spock is actually played by the original Spock, Leonard Nimoy. So that's actually it was like that in the first movie, and it's kind of cool they made a return cameo. So it's kind of neat. And so he tells Kirk about that, and that's why Kirk stuns Spock. Khan. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place with this. I'm trying not to be. So yeah, he stuns Khan. It doesn't work. I think Khan, if he didn't kill the general before, he did it afterwards. Like they incapacitated the general, and then Khan knocked out Kirk, like knocked Kirk down, broke the general's daughter's leg. Pretty bad. It looks painful. Like he just slammed. Like she was knocked on the ground. He just slammed on her leg. It's like, ugh. And he like took and like popped the general's head. All screen records. You gotta keep this PG-13. Like he holds on to him and like this crushes his head. It's like, oh my god, this guy is evil. Like this plot twist, he's evil. For anyone who didn't watch Star Trek 2. So he starts wailing on the ship, saying to give me back my crew. And he knows that his crew will survive as long as he just destroys the life supports. Well, what they do is they get the crew out of the pods, and they send the pods out, detonating them onto the warship. After getting Kirk and the general girl out. Which we don't hear anymore from the daughter anymore, so I might as well just leave her out, cut her out at this point. Like they patch up her leg, and I think that's about it. So now it's like Khan's like really pissed. He thinks his crew is dead. Like he's on the main deck. He's on the main deck, and like the crew teleports like to the engine bays, or it blows up the engines of the ship and stuff. So he thinks his crew is dead, and the ship just kind of goes down. Now here's the kicker: if you've seen Star Trek 2, you know exactly what's going to happen here. Oh, you sort of know, but it's kind of predictable in this one. They kind of throw a bit of a twist here. The ship is having some problems, and there's a radiation leak in the engine, and the engines need to be fixed inside. So in Star Trek 2, Spock goes in, but during this time, Spock's on the control deck. Kirk is free, so he goes in instead, and he fixes it. He suffers some pretty bad radiation poisoning, and Spock hears about it. They get to the thing, and if you've seen Star Trek 2, there's like this big emotional conflict with Kirk and Spock. And Spock's like, ship out of danger. And they have the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, which is something that Spock said earlier in this movie, but also said in earlier Star Trek 2. Only in this case, it's flipped. It's Kirk. And they do some things they do differently in this that I really like. Like, Kirk is actually terrified that he's dying. He's like, how do you fight the fear, Spock? Like, he asks Spock how he fights the fear, and Spock's like, I just close up all emotions. It's not how things do. Like, they're like kind of having this really emotional scene. It's like, if you've seen Star Trek 2, it might ruin it for you because now you know they're doing it because of Star Trek 2. It didn't do too badly for me. I'm not that hard to please. But then, okay, if you don't know this, and but you probably do, you know the infamous Khan scene that spot that William Shatner does in Star Trek 2, and I guess he sounds like he's passing a kidney stone. Spock does the same thing in this one. Like, it's like almost beat for beat. Except instead of panning out the planet, they just kind of cut it off after the first one. And he is pissed. He's going to go after Spock. He's going to go after Khan and kill him. And they do. Like, the Enterprise crash lands on Earth. Khan is still alive somehow. He gets out of the remains of the other ship and jumps out or something like that. And Spock goes out and he's like going all Rambo on this guy, and they start this chase, and they eventually get on like this hover freight, this hover train sort of thing, and like Spock starts being the Spock starts being the crap out of Khan. Try not to curse. I don't want to have to put a censor on this. He just starts being the ever-living crap out of Khan, and it turns out like the triple that was injected with Khan's blood is alive now. So like, oh wait, you can bring Kirk back to life, but we need Khan's blood. We have one of those pods open, right? Yeah, it's one of Khan's pods. Okay, put Kirk in there. He'll be mostly dead, which means he's partly alive. And if you've seen The Princess Bride, you'll get that joke. Those of you who don't, look it up. Watch Princess Bride. It's a great movie. Seriously. It's like the greatest movie ever. Yeah, so they had to send Uhura out to tell Spock not to kill Khan. Well, Spock's not going to listen, so she tases Khan with the phaser, even though it was shown that it doesn't work anymore because it only worked once, sort of. Yeah, logic in this movie is anyway. So they completely cop out, rescue or save Kirk, bring him back to life. Total cop out. Freeze Khan and his men. I don't know where they send them off. They send them off on a ship. I think Space Seed episode of Star Trek. I think it's what's called Space Seed. Look it up. I haven't seen it myself, but that's what I've been told where it's from. So yeah. All in all, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely worth seeing in the theaters, though it's probably out of theaters right now, or in a $1.50 theater. Definitely worth getting on DVD if you're a Star Trek fan. So yeah, check it out. Pretty good. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about the movie, so I'll see you guys later.